Hello everyone, myself Dr. N. Saravanan, Professor Department of Mechanical Engineering, Erode Civil Engineering College, Thudupudi, Erode. So in this video, we are talking about engineering metallurgy, particularly about the various heat treatment process. So heat treatment, what is meant by heat treatment? So heat treatment is defined as the sequence of operation, that is heating of a metal, heating of a steel, and cooling of the metal and steel, and to get a needed properties to obtain, to change this particular structure and orientation of material. So why we go for heat treatment process? So heat treatment process is related to steel and its metal structure. So by this altering the properties, nature, size, shape of the material, distribution of various micro constitution elements, so different combination of mechanical properties of steel may be obtained. So with this altering the properties of steel, that has changed very decidedly by heat treatment process to make the steel suitable for specific applications. So in this change in properties is the function of phase transformation and also structural transformation. And transformation from structure like perlite structure to austenite structure. So initially the steel having a perlite structure, carbide structure, ferrite structure, and also different types of alloying elements depend on the percentage of carbon involved. So in this, when we start heating a steel and the temperature reaches at lower critical temperature, that is, for example, lower critical temperature is 727 degrees Celsius, and change of phase occurs, the perlite is converted into austenite structure. So in this perlite, austenites are the names when we look it into the microstructure of the steel at the metallurgical microscope. So this is conversion of perlite into austenite is done because of the formation of nucleation. So in this nucleation increase with the temperature because of the ferrite and cementite also that starts to dissolve. In this, when temperature reaches upper critical temperature, the structure becomes completely austenite. So in this, however, again the carbide may be present. These are converted by holding the steel at that particular same temperature. So here mainly heat treatment may be heating of material or heating a steel at that particular temperature to obtain a specific property and then hold at that particular temperature, and then finally we can convert it into cooling. So mainly basically heat treatment is the heating of a material to a particular temperature and then holding at that particular temperature and then cooling. Cooling may be in air or any quenching medium, that is liquid, salt bath, maybe oil bath. So whatever it may be, depending upon the properties, we can get it into the cooling medium. In this four stages of transformation, we obtain the austenite structure. That four stages are formation of, first one is formation of nucleation and transformation of cementite and ferrite and dissolution of various carbide particles, and then finally we make it into formation of austenite. And first one is the bainite. So bainite is the cooled below 530 degree Celsius and we get a bainite. Bainite is the combination of perlite, ferrite and cementite. And bainite may be usually harder than perlite may be harder than bainite. And bainite is formed at that higher temperature, that is upper bainite, that is 40 to 50 Rockwell hardness number, and bainite formed at lower temperature means that is called as lower bainite, that is 50 to 60 degree RC. And next one is martensite. So in this martensite we have a austenite cooled at very low temperature, we get a martensite, and martensite phase transformation in time dependent property, we get a martensite. So martensite is very harder, brittle and stronger. And again we are having the main purpose of heat treatment process is you have to obtain a desired properties, and mainly heat treatment, that is heat treatment may be defined as the combination of operations, that is heating and cooling of a material to get a desired properties of steel. So finally we conclude that heat treatment process is the heating a material and then holding a material at that particular temperature, and finally we get it into the cooling process. So heat treatment is defined as the combination of operations that is involved in heating of a metal or alloy in a solid state and cooling it in a suitable rate to obtain the needed properties of steel or metal. So we have different types of heat treatment process, and in this first one is the annealing, and second one is normalizing, and third one is hardening, and fourth one is tempering, and fifth one is the surface hardening process. In that we have a first and foremost one, annealing process. Annealing process may be heating a steel above the A3 line, that is upper critical line, that is heating a steel above 30 to 50 degrees Celsius to get a steel and then kept at that particular temperature for some period of time, and then allow slow cooling in furnace up to that furnace cool down into atmospheric temperature by air convention. So cooling process is done by air, so it is called as annealing process. So in this annealing process, when we heating a steel up to 30 to 50 degrees Celsius above upper critical temperature line and then kept at that particular temperature in some period of time to obtain desired properties, and then we are kept it into the slow cooling process. Cooling process is done by furnace itself, so that is called annealing process. So it's called as full annealing process. So we are having different types of annealing process. So depending upon the percentage of carbon, we have a process annealing, spheroidized annealing, and full annealing, and also hardening process. This is above upper critical ACM line, that is called again it's called as a normalizing process also. So these are the types of first type of heat treatment process. So in this full annealing we are already told full annealing, that is slow cooling process is done by air, that is furnace itself, so it's called as full annealing process. So heating a steel above upper critical temperature and then slow cooling process is done in furnace itself, and cooling medium is air. And next one we have a bright annealing. So in this metal comes in contact with the oxygen, a reaction taking place which will remove the electron from the metal, so the valence in element is also increased. So in case of iron, it's slow burning process, the result is to brittle brown substance that will called as a rust. So in this bright annealing process, the rust formation effects are orange color appears and surface become rough, and corrosion maybe takes place, hole may be developed. In case of sliding object means it's a jam may be appeared. And isothermal annealing process. So in this isothermal annealing process, what is isothermal annealing process means we have to heating a steel above upper critical temperature, that is A3 line, and kept at that particular temperature in sufficient period of time, and then the cooling is done by lower critical temperature, that is kept at that temperature for some time and then allowed to cool up to the atmospheric temperature. So in presence of air, atmospheric temperature in presence of air, and this is called isothermal annealing process. And in this type of annealing, the steel is heated above upper critical temperature, that is A3 line, and that kept at that particular temperature for a sufficient period of time. Then the temperature is reduced below lower critical temperature and then kept for this particular temperature for some period of time and then allowed to cool up to atmospheric temperature. So this process is done by the presence of air. This is called isothermal annealing process. So next process. So this is the schematic representation of isothermal annealing process. Steel heated up to upper critical temperature A3 line, and steel is cooled down in lower critical temperature, that is A1 line, and finally the cooling medium is air. The purpose of isothermal annealing process is it reduces annealing time and it also improves the machinability property and also improves the surface finish after machining process. And next process of heat treatment, that is spheroidized annealing process. So in this process of heat treatment that reduces the structure of rounded particles in cementite in ferrite matrix, that is called spheroidized annealing process. So in this type of annealing process, that is done in high carbon steel, that is 0.6 to 2% to soften the material and also to increase the machinability property. And next one, this spheroidizing process by holding long time at just below the lower critical temperature, cementite from perlite that occurs, and thermal cycling during the heating above upper critical temperature, cementite try to dissolve and during cooling they try to form. This repeated action spheroidizes the carbide or cementite particles. And also in this spheroidized FE3 particles within an alpha matrix diffusion, depending on the heat treatment process, we are getting a bayanite or perlite at that particular temperature just below the eurectoid for a long time. This is the microstructure of spheroid process. And then in this annealing process carried out below the lower critical temperature, and these are called as subcritical annealing, stress relief annealing, recrystallization annealing process, and process annealing. This first one we are having a stress relief annealing process. In this process, cold worked steel is heated up to the temperature between 500 to 500 degrees Celsius. For example, below its lower recrystallization temperature, and then kept at this particular temperature for 1 to 2 hours and then cooled at the room temperature, that is room temperature in air. So next process, stress relief annealing process. So in this stress relief, steel is heated below the lower critical temperature and then we are kept at particular temperature in a sufficient period of time, and then finally we are cooled at that in a room temperature, that is a cooling medium is air. In this stress relief annealing process is applicable only for the hypoeurectoid steel, because only these steel can be we can use it in a cold rolled process. So due to this process, the internal stresses are relieved without affecting the hardness and strength of the particular steel or metal, and also it increases the corrosion resistance. In this recrystallization process done below the upper critical temperature and then also the lower critical temperature, due to this process ferrite recrystallite and cementite tries to spheroidize, and heating ranges from 625 to 675 degrees Celsius. So that is also called as recrystallization. So crystallization may be converted into another one. The next process is process annealing. So in this process annealing is done above the recrystallization temperature. So in this process, similar to that, the recrystallization process and both process involves recrystallization and formation of new stress-free grain size. Due to this process, ferrite recrystallites and cementite that tries to spheroidize. It is applicable for this process annealing process is applicable only for low carbon steels. Next is purpose of annealing process. So in this main objective of annealing process is to relieve the internal stresses that are developed during the process of welding, rolling, cold rolling and extrusion processes. And also main purpose of annealing process is to reduce the hardness of the material and also to refine the grain size and grain orientation of particular steel structure and metal to make the material homogeneous in respect to the chemical composition and chemical properties of the material. And also main purpose of heat treatment process in this annealing process is to increase machinability of the material to make the steel suitable to subsequent that heat treatment like hardening process and tempering process also. To after annealing process, annealing is the process of heating the material up to austenite temperature and then kept at that particular temperature for a sufficient period of time and then slowly allowed to cooling process. Cooling process is done by in a furnace. So that is called annealing process. So these are the main purpose of annealing. So after annealing process, this particular material, that is steel, is able to do a hardening process and tempering process. So main objective is to relieve internal stress, reduce hardness, to improve the grain size and material homogeneous, to obtain the homogeneous structure and also to improve its machinability properties. And then main application of annealing process is to use the steel and wire drawing process, high carbon steel, ball bearing steel, casting of carbon and alloy steel. So with this we are going to see the next process of heat treatment process, that is normalizing process. Normalizing process involves heating the steel above upper critical temperature, that is A3, for and then for hypoelectric steel above upper critical temperature for hypoelectric steel, that is above 30 to 50 degrees Celsius, and heating that particular temperature and then holding at that particular temperature for a sufficient period of time, and then we have to obtain the homogeneous austenization and then slowly cooling is done by in the room temperature still air. So that is called normalizing process. So the schematic representation of normalizing process. So the heat treatment, heating above upper critical temperature, that is A3 line. This is percentage of carbon versus temperature. So in this heating the steel above upper critical temperature and cooling is done by air in room temperature. This process of annealing is same as that of normalizing but differ from the following manner. So here they are giving main difference between annealing and normalizing process. So annealing is done by using air cooling process and annealing is done by furnace cooling. So only that cooling process varies. Annealing process is done by furnace itself. Annealing process, that is in process of annealing, cooling process is done by furnace itself. But in the case of normalizing, cooling process is done by air cooling. And in the case of annealing, the furnace imposes identical cooling condition at all locations and hence it produces identical properties. But in case of normalizing, different locations, therefore different kinds of regions will have different properties. And also we have in this annealing process we have obtained less hardness, less tensile strength and less toughness when compared to normalizing process, slightly more hardness, slightly more tensile strength and toughness. In annealing process, internal stresses are very least, but in the case of normalizing process, internal stresses are more. Grain size distribution is more and also more uniform, and here normalizing process grain size distribution is less uniform, and this creating a pear-like structure that is in the form of chorus, and here fine pear-like structure is obtained after normalizing processes. That in this annealing process, comparatively annealing process having a low strength and hardness, but comparatively when compared to annealing process, normalizing process getting a higher strength and hardness. And also the process of annealing is time consuming one, and also it's a expensive one. But when compared to annealing process, normalizing process is a less expensive, that is cost wise. And annealing improve the machinability of the medium carbon steel, and also normalizing improve the machinability of the low carbon steel. So after annealing process, microstructure contain less pierlite, but after normalizing process, microstructure of normalizing is contain more pierlitic structure. Purpose of annealing is to same that of purpose of normalizing. In this, normalizing is to eliminate the cementite network in hypoelectric steel that is formed due to slow cooling in the temperature range from ASM to A1. And after normalizing process, it produces a very good uniform structure, and also after normalizing is done, it produces a harder and a stronger steel, and also it increases the strength and ductility of the material, and also it refine the grain size also. When we go to the uses of normalizing process, it is used to improve the microstructure in steel, and it is applied on welded structure to improve the uniformity of throughout the steel material, and it's mostly applied on low and medium carbon steel, and also it's refined the grain structure in rolled and rolling and casting process. In the process of hardening, that involves heating a steel above A3 line temperature for hypoelectric steel, and also above A1 temperature for hyperelectric steel by up to 50 degrees Celsius, and then we are getting an austenite structure, and austenite for some time, and then slowly cooling with a rate of exceeding the critical cooling rate of that to up to atmospheric room temperature or below room temperature. So heating a steel up to above the upper critical temperature, and then holding at that particular temperature, and then cooling into the room temperature. That is called hardening process. And hardening quenching medium. Finally, quenching medium is used that the component gets cooled at the rate of just exceeding the critical cooling rate of steel. For alloy steel, quenching medium is air is used. We are getting a less critical cooling rate. And high carbon steel, quenching medium is oil is used. So here slightly more cooling rate we have obtained, and medium carbon steel, water is used. We are getting a critical cooling rate. And also low carbon steel, less than 1% carbon, means we cannot come under the category of hardening process because of their high critical cooling rate. Main objective of hardening process, what is the need of hardening means? To harden the steel to the maximum level by austenite to martensite transformation, and also to increase the wear resistance and cutting ability of the particular tool materials. Here we have some defects while hardening the material. The defects are oxidation and carburization, cracks after quenching process, distortion and warpage, and change in dimension, appearance of soft spots, and reduction in mechanical properties. Mechanical properties like tensile strength, compressive strength, impact strength, ductility, etc. Next process is tempering. Tempering process consists of heating the hardened component to a temperature in between 100 to 700 degrees Celsius, and holding at that particular temperature for a sufficient period of time, and then cooling room temperature, that is usually in air. So heating a steel up to 700 degrees Celsius, that is below A1, holding at that particular temperature for a sufficient period of time. Here they are mentioning 1 or 2 hours, and then cooling, that is usually done in by using air. harden the component below A1. So holding at that particular temperature 1 to 2 hours, and finally cooling at air medium, that is room temperature. In this type of tempering process, there is low temperature tempering, high temperature tempering, and medium temperature tempering. In this first one is low temperature tempering, there is 100 degree to 200 degrees Celsius. In this martensite structure, obtained above 100 degrees Celsius and above 200 degrees Celsius, we are getting a low carbon martensite plus gamma carbide. In this, hardness increased and brittleness and internal stresses are relieved. So during this process, martensite decomposes and gives low carbon martensite and transition carbide, that is called alpha carbide. And medium temperature tempering, there is temperature ranges from 200 to 500 degrees Celsius. So in this temperature range, cementite is formed and very fine distribution of cementite particles is observed in the matrix of ferrite. And hardened steel is a martensitic plus retained austenite, and this retained austenite is again converted into bayanite, and bayanite is the combination of martensite plus carbide. This martensite is again converted into low carbon martensite and alpha carbide. So there are another types of tempering process, that is high temperature tempering. In this temperature ranges from 500 to 700 degrees Celsius. So during this high temperature tempering, cementite particles becomes porous. So except this, there is no change in the structure. And after tempering process, hardness is decreased, toughness also decreased, miscibility property may be increased. During this variation in properties with varying temperature, and internal stresses are relieved, hardness and toughness are increased during the tempering temperatures. And what is the purpose of tempering process? Tempering process is to reduce the internal stresses that is developed due to the rapid cooling in hardening process, and also reduce the hardness and also increase the ductility and toughness of the particular material, and to eliminate retained austenite structure. In this smart tempering process, austenite steel is cooled rapidly by avoiding the noise of the internal transformation diagram to temperature between nose and soaked at this particular temperature for some time, but not enough to permit the formation of bayanite, and then cooled to room temperature, and cooling is done by, normally cooling is done by air or oil. Mar tempering process is applicable for high carbon steel and low carbon steel. They are less wrapping and less possibility of pinching the cracks. And astempering process is austenized steel is cooled with the rate of exceeding the critical cooling rate in a molten bath held at some constant temperature between the nose and time temperature transformation diagram and the mean bayanite region, holding at that particular temperature for a sufficient period of time. The structure is changed from bayanite transformation and then cooling to room temperature if the desired properties are obtained. The advantages of astempering is produce the structure and properties is much similar to tempered martensite without involving the martensitic transformation. So here, time temperature transformation diagram, the product may be upper bayanite or lower bayanite. The properties of bayanite are intermediate of those martensite and perlite and are very much similar to the tempering martensite. Next is surface hardening process. And what is the purpose of surface hardening? Surface hardening process. Many steel components require hard wear resistance outer case. Outer case is called surface. So in this surface is to be hardened because they need a hard surface. When compared to inner case, outer case may be hardened because at the same time they require soft and tough inner portion, inner core. The inner component, the inner portion is called core, and outer component is called surface, that is case. So they need a very hard wear resistance outer surface, but they need a soft and tough inner portion, that is called core, and outer surface is called core. For example, machine guideways need a wear resistance outer surface and a tough shock resistant inner surface. So can you understand the outer surface and inner surface? So because of some metal components need hard wear resistance outer case, that is called surface. So that's why we go for surface treatment process, that is outer hard surface treatment process. They need a outer surface very hard, but at the same time they need a inner surface very soft and tough inner portion. For example, machine guideways, they need a wear resistance outer surface and tough shock resistant inner surface. So because of this surface heat treatment process useful for outer surface as well as inner portion of the component are hardened, the hardened inner portion will make a component brittle. So it cannot be take a shock loads. So here we go for a special heat treatment process that is used for hardening only outer surface, that is known as the case hardening process. That is also called as surface hardening process. So in this process only outer case, that is outer surfaces, is to be hardened, but inner surface remains tough. So the purpose of these type of case hardening or surface hardening process are to produce a wear resistance hard surface, to improve the corrosion resistant surface, and to improve the heat resistant process, and also to serve as an ornamental finish and to increase the useful life of components made from low cost material. And various such a requirements is difficult to achieve by using the steel of uniform composition. So low carbon steel are tough but cannot be hardened, and also high carbon steel can be hardened but they are not tough. So they are very much likely to crack during the hardening process. So in this surface hardening process, medium carbon steel are intermediate in its properties, and those of low and high carbon steel and do not satisfy the requirement of optimum level. So such a problems are arised that can be solved by increasing the carbon of the surface of a low carbon or otherwise low carbon alloy steel, and also introduce a nitrogen to the surface of the tough steel, and also introduce carbon and nitrogen to the surface of the tough steel, and hardening of the surface without changing the composition of the surface. So these all the changes are done by the particular surface. We made a outer case hardened one. So this is called outer case hardening processes or surface hardening process. So here there are different types of case hardening or surface hardening processes. So in this, first one is carburizing and case carburizing and case hardening process. And we have a different types of process like carburizing process, cyaniding process, carbonitriding process, and induction hardening and flame hardening. So carburizing process means we have to adding the carbon to the surface. So we have to add the carbon to the surface, that outer case. So then only the surface is to be hardened. So inner cores may be tough, soft and tough. And nitrating process. Nitrating process is process of adding the nitrogen to the surface. And cyaniding and nitrating, that is carbonitrating, process of adding both carbon and nitrogen to the surface, that is called the carbonitrating and cyaniding process. And in this carburizing process, consisting of heating the steel in an austenite region and in contact with carburizing medium, holding at that particular temperature for a sufficient period of time, and then cooling into the particular room temperature. In this austenitic region, the solubility of carbon is more, hence the change of carbon from the medium that diffuses in the particular steel. And after carburizing, heat treatment is necessary to bring the carbon in martensitic form. And types of carburizing are solid or pack or box carburizing, gas carburizing, and liquid carburizing. In this first one, solid carburizing, in this component is to be carburized that are packed with the carburizing material in the steel or cast iron boxes. In these boxes are not properly sealed, means air comes out in contact with the carbonitrate medium, and this medium is simply burning without any carburizing process is done. The usual carbonizing medium that consists of hard wood charcoal, chalk, and an energizer or accelerator such as barium carbonate or sodium or calcium carbonate. So these boxes are heated to a particular temperature, that is particular temperature means up to austenitic region, and then kept at that particular temperature until the desired properties may be obtained. So this is the part is to be carburized, and outer case is the activated charcoal. This is carbon is converted into carbon monoxide, and we have to give a carburizing temperature up to austenitic temperature. And solid carburizing, maximum of carbon at the surface and case depth may be depend on the temperature of carburizing and the holding at that particular temperature, and we are getting a higher carbon at the surface, we have getting a more case depth. And next is gas carburizing. In this gas carburizing, the components are heated at that austenitic temperature region and then held at that temperature for a sufficient period of time, and then finally the gases decomposes and the carbon diffuses in the steel. This gas carburizing is commonly used to obtain relatively thin cases of high uniformity. And liquid carburizing, another carburizing process. Mainly carburizing is the process of adding carbon to the surface. So in this method, carburizing is done by immersing the steel component in a carbonized infused salt bath medium and held at a particular temperature in a sufficient period of time to get a austenite region. So this bath is composed of sodium cyanide and sodium carbonate and sodium chloride. Advantages of these kind of carburizing process are rapid and uniform heat transfer, low distortion, negligible surface oxidization, rapid absorption of carbon, and disadvantages of sodium cyanide is highly poisonous. Next is nitrating process. Nitrating process is process of adding nitrogen to the surface. So here Nitrogen is added by heating the steel in contact with the surface of atomic nitrogen at a temperature up to 550 degrees Celsius. This atomic nitrogen diffuses into the steel and combines with iron alloying elements that presents in the steel that forms the respective nitrides. So these nitrides increase the hardness and wear of the steel. So this is the after nitriding process. And here also liquid nitriding that occurs by the formation and decomposition of cyanide by the same reaction as given in the liquid carburizing. Process of adding ammonia to the particular component. These are the nitriding process. Outer gear, outer core and outer surface may be hardened using this kind of nitriding process. So because we need a outer components in this gear-like components, we need a hard wear resistance outer surface, but at the same time they also need a soft and tough inner portion, that is core. So these are the some applications, some components get out from after nitriding process. And some of the advantages of nitriding process are, after nitriding minimum distortion is taking place, and after nitriding process the components are getting a better corrosive resistance than hardening and carburized component, and also after nitriding process increased fatigue life of the component, and also after nitriding process have a excellent bearing properties. Bearing properties also increased, and hardness is increased up to 1200 hardness number. Here this hardness is compared to carburized component also. And main disadvantages of using nitriding process is steels that used in nitriding are costly in the market and very less depth obtained after nitriding process. And if once nitriding process is done, we are not done after there is no heat treatment process done after nitriding process. And next is flame hardening. It's the process of heating the surface layer of hardened steel to above critical temperature by means of oxy-acetylene flame, allowed by water sprays quenching or immersion of quenching to transform the austenite to martensite region. Flame hardening that can be done by spark method and progressive method. Spinning method and also combination of. After flame hardening, we are getting less distortion and also oxidation and decarburization are very minimum. And another one, induction hardening. Induction hardening, the thin layer of surface of hardenable steel or cast iron that is heated by using the high frequency induced currents. Here the component is heated by means of inducting coil, that is the heating coil, which consists of one or several times of water cooled copper tube. So here we are passing the high frequency alternating currents following through the inductor that generate the alternating magnetic field. So in this magnetic field induces the eddy current, the same frequency in the surface layer, which rapidly heat the surface of the component. So finally outer surface is hardened after the short period of time, that is 2 to 5 minutes. The temperature of the surface layer comes above the upper critical temperature of the steel component, and finally the depth of the hardened layer can be controlled by controlling the frequency supply of voltage. So finally The component is quenched by water supply, usually without removing the inductor coil. So outer case is hardened by using inductor